Before you watch this video, I just want you to know that the heavy breathing and snoring in the background of all my voiceovers are these two. So, in case you're wondering. This is my year of yes. As a third-time new mom, I know how easy it is to get bogged down in the minutia of the day in and day outs. And so I promised myself this year I would challenge myself in new ways and get outside my comfort zone. And I signed a new client, actually in person, to teach content creation to, which is a first for me. I typically teach everything online and via Zoom. So to celebrate, I took myself to my favorite nursery and bought some new rhododendron to put on the property. I've had the same career now for 13 years and I love it. But it's also been cool not to put limits on myself and to branch out in different ways. Okay, now let's talk about this nursery. I love walking through gardens. It's so inspiring to see the way that nurseries and different gardens use stone and plants and structures to decorate, and it gets me so inspired. I'm excited to finally design the way that we're going to have the gardens flow on our property this year. Once I got home, I needed help with the rhododendron because they were insanely heavy. Even the small one, they were deceivingly heavy. I ended up buying two that will continue to grow and grow and grow and grow into trees. And then I bought one little dwarf rhododendron to plant as well. These ones haven't bloomed yet for this spring, so that's why I bought them, because they're closed. I think it's going to be like a pink one and a purple one. And then the little one I bought specifically because I loved the peach color. I don't know where I'm going to plant it yet, probably over with the other rhodies, but they are so gorgeous. It was a beautiful weekend. The deer showed her face. We haven't seen the deer in a while because we let the dogs free range now, which is good for the garden, but not good for the wildlife. But so I like seeing her out. And as you can see, Loki is, he's old, so we let him just kind of live his life, and the deer don't really love that. Okay, I forgot my tripod today, so you're like literally in the garden bed. I wanted to show what's going in the bed. We got garden blend. Is it gonna focus? Okay, there we go. Nope. Okay. Garden blend kale. Some dinosaur kale. There we go. Dinosaur kale. Purple kale. Romaine. Lettuce. This is like bib lettuce. Some more romaine. We eat a lot of romaine. And then some salad greens. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did. One thing I do is just really make sure I take note of how many inches deep. It's usually 1/4 of an inch for these kinds of seeds. Yeah, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So it's just a very, all the same, 1/4, 2.5. So, again, just like I did with the other bed, I'm just going to do a little trough here. Move these over. Just all the way across. There was calendula in here last year and carrots. So the calendula reseeds. Here's some calendula year after year. So it's already starting to pop up. Last year I just kind of let it take over. This year I'm not going to let it take over like it did last year. But I will have lots of calendula in my garden. It's one of those plants where you plant it once and it will just keep growing back year after year. That and borage. I have borage already starting to pop up in one of my other beds, and I usually just leave them. They don't transplant well. Like, there's some flowers that they pop up like nasturtiums and you're like, oh, I like you, but I don't want you there. And I just kind of relocate them. But borage does not like to be relocated. It will die. It dies every time I do that. Okay, so garden blend kale. I have to find here it is. I put the, one thing I'm trying to be really good at is making sure I'm labeling. And I decided with the kale, I'm not going to really follow spacing instructions this year. I've read a lot of gardeners just like don't follow those rules, and they have like those overflowing garden beds that are super full. You wonder why? It's because they just don't follow spacing instructions at all. They just kind of like fill up the beds. And then what you can do, especially with stuff like kale and lettuce, and even like carrots and radishes, I mean, pretty much everything, you just eat them when they're like baby carrots, and you just like pluck them out, or baby greens, you know. All right, lacinato kale, which is also dinosaur kale. So it will pop up, and if it starts to get too crowded, I can just like, you know, eat the baby leaves, you know, leave a couple plants to grow to maturity. But yeah, it's not that serious, you know. Purple kale. So I did a lot of purple kale last year. Like my garden was just like, my pregnancy like took it out of me. I could not think. I worked so hard in my garden, and I just did not have anything. Not only that, something interesting that happened was that even the veggies I did grow, since I was pregnant, I was kind of grossed out by them. Which I was not expecting that. Oh man. Okay, scarlet kale over here. But so scarlet kale, purple kale. Kale in general, it overwinters so good. Like last year, I had kale all the way through winter. We live in a climate where some of those like cold, like if you live in the maritime kind of climate, or I guess like I'm an 8B, there's definitely, it doesn't get, some winters don't get that cold until there's a freeze, really. But even some will last through the freeze. I want to experiment with doing little greenhouses over my beds this year. I asked Kevin to build me some for spring this year, but it didn't happen. I mean, we have a baby, so can't expect everything to happen that I want to happen. I mean, this is like our 3rd year and it still hasn't happened. Let's normalize things not happening overnight, okay? All right, this is Paris Island romaine. So these are like little romaines over there. Hear all the birds. So glad the birds are back. It gets very quiet here in the winter. Not used to that growing up in Florida. It's like there's parrots and stuff and blue jays and mockingbirds, and they're all very loud all year round. All right, this is garden blend lettuce. I think I'm done with those. Yeah, so we're on to this side now. Garden blend lettuce. So this is like a blend of different ones. So all the seeds, you probably won't be able to see them, but see them? I want the seeds to fall. All the seeds are different colors. You can't see it. And then we have little gem romaine. And here's the Asian greens. You know, April can be tricky because it makes you feel like it's ready to plant everything, but you can still get a good cold snap. But these little carrots that are left over in here. But you can get a little cold snap, but any chance of like a freeze is done. Our last frost date. We're past our last frost date. So, I mean, some of these plants like to have like, it to be cold, you know? So, I mean, lettuces and kales and collards and, so brassicas, like broccoli, I'm like hardening off my broccoli right now. And cauliflower, I have not been successful with it. Every year I try, but this year has been my most successful broccoli start year. So maybe this will be the year. I have grown cauliflower, but it wasn't like cute. I don't know, there's something wrong with it. I was like, I don't want to eat that. I don't know what happened. Maybe too much rain, or I didn't pick it fast enough. I don't know, but it was like funky looking. So I'm just going to put just like it's only at one, you only cover like 1/4 of it. So you don't like cover it very much. I just kind of like move the dirt back over it that I moved. Maybe put a little bit more from the sides. I haven't started the irrigation yet. We got a real fancy irrigation we moved in because having gardened before, I knew that my weakest, what would destroy my garden would be me missing enough days watering it and everything would die. Or we like to travel and going out of town and getting like a heat wave and nothing getting water and dying, coming home to it dying. So we splurge for like a fancy one that's like, it connects to your phone, it connects to Wi-Fi, it goes off of the weather pattern, so if it's raining it won't water as much. It's really cool. I'll link it in the comments. It's like called Raccio or something like that, but it's worth the investment. I don't even think it was that much from what I can remember, but all right, so now to water the seeds. Okay, this irrigation still needs to be put where it needs to go, but we already got climate peas over here. They will go fast. They start off slow and then they just start to shoot up. We got some over here, so I went ahead and put the trellis down. I need to really do some maintenance on this trellis this year. Last year, like I said, pregnant, survival mode. I need to go ahead and put this one down too. They were lifted up because I had those little greenhouses on them. So when I bring my starts out, I'm actually going to put these greenhouses on the starts just to give them a little bit of warmth at night. Oh, look. I want to move all these strawberries, but I'll probably just move the ones that have spread out into the middle. So every year they propagate themselves. So I will take all the ones, I just keep the ones along the end, and then I'll take all these that propagate that go from here on out, and I move them around the property. So I'm going to put some on our porch for the kids. I planted this peony here last year. I'm going to end up probably moving it. Look, we have I need to clean up all these weeds, and I need to rake. We need to bring in some new seed. I need to pick up all these random things my kids have left in here. Look what we got here though. The little peony buds always remind me of Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. Doesn't it remind you of Little Shop of Horrors? I think Little Shop of Horrors. I think she was a peony. The first year we moved here, we planted a raspberry down here and then like set it and forget it. And it died. So I'm really glad to see these are doing well. I've learned a lot about the climate since I've moved here and the plants and where they like to be planted. But they're all doing really good. Decided we're gonna plant that little cherry tree that's in my garden, like right back there. So there's a good spot right there. Or maybe not so close to the Douglas fir. Maybe I'll do it like right over here on that mound. That'd be a good spot. Sunset looks so beautiful right now. One of the things we want to do is, so this is like where we pick our blackberries, but we really don't need, it's like so much. Plus we have tons in the back. So I kind of want to just like cut it here and clear all this. Turn this little area into something. Not quite sure what. But there's so much land here that like we can create so much more room just by doing little clearings here and there. Obviously you don't want to clear a lot because it's one of the reasons why we love the property, but definitely looking forward to landscaping, especially this middle area. It was all overgrown. Like there was blackberries like up to the top of that tree when we moved in, and we got that cleared and we've kept on top of it. So the blackberries haven't grown back. But next is to attack this just overgrowth area. Look at the Japanese maple. I want to plant like Japanese maples all over the property. They're so freaking pretty. Look how pretty this tree is. They're just gorgeous all summer long. This is left over from the old owners, but there's so much potential here for like water feature, and all the lilies are coming up. Wait, no, irises. Those are lilies that I planted. And as you can see, all the blackberry is trying to regrow here. And there's our stock tank pool that we have yet to set up an area for that, but that's happening one day. The lilac is starting to bloom. The bees love lilacs. I can't wait to share what this looks like when it's all in full bloom. So there's all azaleas, and then these are like yellow and purple irises. It's so freaking gorgeous. This little section is like exactly what I'm picturing for the whole property. And I'll show it on my YouTube when everything's in full bloom, promise. So all the rhodies are gonna get planted along this ledge. So just like this rhodie tree, the vision is to have a bunch of rhodie trees just all along this line. Maybe you wanna weigh in on this. We're thinking about getting rid of these shrubs, and so that we can just put rhodies all the way down the line and just have a big wall of rhodies, because they have like these little trees, and I'm just like, I don't know, I feel bad taking them down, but in the same breath I'm like, I have a vision. that beautiful flowering rhodie is a vision. There's more here. And then some roses along the wall of the house, and since we have painted the house black now, it just looks so pretty. I would love to have roses going along the whole line of the house. Roses I have yet to dive into. I do not know how to care for roses. Grateful these are still alive. I need to stake that rose. Rhodies are native, so they're easy. You just put them in the ground and they grow. Look how pretty rhododendron are. I just want this to be like a huge rhododendron garden, this whole side yard. What do you think? Keep the shrubs, or if I could relocate them, I will, but keep or get rid of. So this used to be a Hugo culture bed. It's the first garden we built when we moved here. And I'm actually going to take nasturtium seeds and I'm going to plant them all in the dirt so that they all grow along the floor. And there's like a big, big field of flowers to take pictures of the kids and stuff this summer. So it's a little bit warmer. I have tons of nasturtium seeds that I've collected in the last couple of years. So I'm excited for that because it's like a big thing of dirt right now. I love this view on the west side of the property. For some reason, it looks like it's like above you in person. I can never capture its beauty on camera, on a phone. It's just so gorgeous. A sunset is the best time. And I just wanted to share that. And my dogs are breathing super heavily in the background. And I'm so sorry. This is a sweater that I was selected to be a test knitter for. I decided to just go crazy with it. I decided to knit it in an XL so that it's huge and oversized. My vision for it is just to be like this big, comfy, fun sweater to wear around the campfire. It's knit out of wool, so it's going to be super warm and great for those chilly evenings while we're, hanging out outside with the kiddos. So the family learned a very interesting lesson on Saturday. We were headed to the Tulip Festival. It's about a 2-hour drive from us. And by the time we were already supposed to be at the festival, we were still in traffic, and we still had an hour and a half. Like, we could have driven all the way to Bend with the amount of time we spent in the car on Saturday. The entire beautiful 60-degree day was in the car, and we were all so disappointed. So we decided to teach the kids a lesson, and that is, you can't control what happens. You can't control traffic. You can't control what happens around you, but you can control how you react to the situation. A fun idea I had even in our cute little matching dresses that I put us in for the Tulip Festival, and we ended up first of all, Kevin a little hike. It was actually a hike that I've been wanting to take the kids on anyway. So on the way home, which is still about an hour, covered it in plastic. So I don't know if you can see this. It was a good enclosed it in, and now that it's getting a little warmer, Sundays are my cleaning day. So I attacked this cool room that we had made for the kids. I had an idea to close it in and put heaters in it to make an additional playroom for the kids. Clean the nuggets. That is kind of outdoors, and I wanted to tackle washing all the nuggets, which the dogs have had the baby with me for today. They destroy the nuggets. Oh, Kevin was working on a huge wash those and clean and clean up this play area that gets pretty crazy with all the dirt projects that they have. And of course, even though I like, as you can see, I'm blocking a new sweater. I shared it on my Instagram. I will not probably make it to YouTube. I'll never turn down did my weekly wet mop, and we worked on some outstanding projects around the property. Not really knowing what direction to go in, and then I turned we'll never turn down a good rock painting session. I love this project because my daughter can just go find rocks and bring them in. A bunch of dragons. The baby is finally able to sit up on his own. If you want a really low so I don't have to worry about him crashing into the table. So always finally starting to get to do some fun stuff that I haven't really been able to do because I'm always holding the baby, and he's been a blob up until now. And if you want a really great low impact project to do with the kids, this was her creations. I love rock painting for that. Okay, so in the past I haven't been successful with loofah because I didn't know that you actually need to get like clippers and like snip the seed because they're very tough, and then I wrapped it in a paper towel and I put it in a Ziploc, and then I went and put it on the heat mat because it likes to be very hot. So did not know that. I need to do that.
Then we're done.
We had a huge pile of trees and bushes that Kevin had cut down that was like in the front yard for forever, and I finally convinced Kevin to eat that frog and to get it done. So that's how he spent his Sunday. I'm also hardening off a bunch of plants. Can't remember if I put this in my previous vlogs, but I'm hardening off seedlings to put in the dirt, and I cannot wait to get everything into the garden. This is another one of my favorite views, is the view of the island and the sound walking down to my garden. If we plan to build a bigger house, this will be the main view for sure. Okay, so see this guy? This is borage. He's popping up everywhere. They pop up everywhere. Look, 3 borage right there. I mean, they're all over this bed. So I'll try to relocate them now that they're little, and see if they survive. This is a blackberry, and they pop up everywhere too. So lots of weeding right now, and the peas are all growing. Oh, and also these are the radishes I planted last week. So all the radishes are already popped up. These will be ready to eat in like 30 days. So they grow really fast. I think there's even some spinach popping up there, but I could be wrong. I think it might be too fast for the spinach. But look, I even think, is that a carrot? No, that's too quickly for carrots. It's so hard to tell what's a weed, what's a plant. I just wait till they get a little bit bigger, and then I start to weed when they're bigger. But still got some peas popping out here too. Got all different kinds of peas, snow peas, snap peas, sugar pod peas. So That's what we got going this week. All right, gonna end this week's video with something very exciting. Blueberries from my blueberry plants from last year. So I'm gonna put some bird deterrent on these and I will show how I do that when I do it. I'll probably do it this week sometime. Go, 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 good. Go inside.